hopefully in the future come closer to Europe will also be a tool for development of modern technology in your schools and in your universities and your skills. Together with Oksana, we have worked for making a memorandum for establishment of an ongoing steering committee of Ukrainian Internet Governance Forum. This is because it is so important that everybody who is stakeholder, meaning all parts of the society that have an interest in the development of Internet should work together, that nobody should boss the others. It is very important that they all participate in the process. And I think that the development here in Europe, here in Ukraine, would really help to be a multi-stakeholder internet development if this memorandum will be followed by all the stakeholders. So I look forward to the development of this. It is the development of Internet is something that can give room for a lot of improvement. But when you have new technology, there are always two sides of it. Internet can make a revolution where you can really take part in you can sit and in Kyiv and talk to people in Sydney. You can form groups that develop new ideas, and it has really contributed to all these good ideas. But naturally, we can also see that there could be problems with privacy. We have seen that there is a tendency to big brothers watching you. They are not, well, people can read what you are saying on Facebook and on emails, and therefore Internet in itself can be used both as a good tool and a tool for a more autocratic society. And there it is very important that we are aware of this. For instance, there was an idea that we should have a legislation on law on morality, and naturally we all want to have morale, but if it is the society that suddenly can point things out and the government can forbid things to happen in the Internet, then it is dangerous, and therefore it's good that this case has been delayed. It's also very important that there are transparency in, for instance, ownership, and that also there are independent public broadcasting. Otherwise, you risk self-censorship, and you risk that the journalists cannot fulfill their mission as being the fourth power in the society. So there's a lot of challenges for the future. I look really forward to Ukraine who really take all these possibilities that the society could have in a modernization with new technology and with an informed society that can really take part in informing the future of your society. So I look forward for today and the speech and the discussion, and especially the discussions will be very important for this day. Thank you.
Спасибо большое, Ханне. Теперь я хочу предоставить слово, приветственное все еще слово Оливье Крепилю-Блонду, который как раз и расскажет, каким образом пользователи могут оказывать влияние на глобальную политику в области управления интернетом. Еще раз повторяю, Оливье Крепилю-Блонд, глава общественного совета, так называемого At Large Advisory Council, при организации ICANN, которая занимается распределением доменных имен и адресов.
Thank you very much, Oksana. I'm going to be giving all my speech in English, and just first get I'll try and not go too fast for the interpreters, and if the interpreters think I'm speaking a bit too quickly, which is what I often do, then they could wave at me. That will be of help. So I'm the chair of the At Large Advisory Committee, wearing several hats actually. The At Large Advisory Committee in ICANN is the part of ICANN that in effect puts forward the points of view of the internet users in the ICANN multi-stakeholder process. ICANN is the authority in the world that coordinates the global name system, .com, .net, .org. All of these top-level domains have to be coordinated so that they work together, but also the country code domain names such as .ua, .fr, .uk, etc. So it's a very important job for ICANN, because if it didn't do this job correctly, then the internet would simply not work. When you would put the name of a website in your browser or want to send an email, you wouldn't be able to actually reach the correspondent or reach the website that you wanted to reach. The interesting thing about ICANN is it's a multi-stakeholder organization. It's divided into many different parts. And oh, excellent! The presentation is up, so that will help. I will get something to help myself out. I've got a little laser. I apologize, I thought I had a laser pointer with me, but it's gone. Okay, fine, no problem. I'll have to just wave in the right direction. So, if we can have the first slide, please. So, ICANN is a multi-stakeholder model, as I mentioned to you. It's basically got a board of directors which is selected from all of the different constituency groups. Many of these constituency groups are multi-stakeholder models themselves. So you've got the board, you've got some staff, of course, running the organization, but everyone else, everywhere else in the organization are volunteers. They don't get paid. They just contribute their time and their knowledge to the overall process. If you look at the overall system, you can actually see on the right-hand side, as in any multi-stakeholder model, what is multi-stakeholder? Governments, civil society, and private sector are the three main pillars of a multi-stakeholder model as such. So the governments are basically putting their input into the ICANN processes via the Government Advisory Committee, the GAC. Then you've got, so from the right-hand side, you've got several technical liaison groups and advisory committees that deal with security, stability, with the root server system, which is the network of computers that is located worldwide that will perform the translation between the actual IP addresses, the numbers of the websites, and the domain names that you put forward. And then you've got at large, where basically the input from the internet users. We are in an advisory committee. And then there are several SOs, supporting organizations, and these are the organizations which make the actual policy development. You've got the address supporting organization that deals just with the IP addresses, and they basically are the top of the pyramid of all the regional internet registries. For the regional internet registries, you've got RIPE that serves this region. In fact, there was a meeting that included RIPE a couple of days ago here in Ukraine. And next to it, you've got the GNSO, the Generic Name Supporting Organization. They're the ones that deal with the generic names, .com, .org, .net. At the moment, they're extremely busy because there's going to be a launch of new generic top-level domains. There have been 1,400 applications. There is a much smaller set of new domains that will be released, but we're still speaking about several hundred new domains, new top-level domains that will be released. You know, .auto, well, trademarks as well, .apple, there's a whole huge list. And they are a multi-stakeholder model inside that supporting organization. Next to it, there is the CCNSO, the Country Code Name Supporting Organization, of which .ua is a member, and that groups all of the country codes, and that's where they deal with policy development as far as country codes are concerned. We go to the next slide, please. If we get rid of the board, which is what a lot of people want to do in ICANN, because the board always frustrates everyone through some of their decisions, then you actually can see which ones of the parts of ICANN are more multi-stakeholder than others. The ASO, certainly, because of the fact that it deals with policy development on a local level, and that includes the local players with regards to internet service provision and the distribution of IP addresses, is has a strong multi-stakeholder model. The GNSO is another multi-stakeholder model. It's made up of two main houses. There's the contracted parties house and there's the non-contracted parties house. The contracted parties are the registrars and registries, people that are in the business of selling domain names to you, to everyone. The non-contracted parties house are effectively most of the users, the intellectual property owners, the internet service providers, who often are not selling domain names, they just sell you the connection to the internet. And of course, you've got the non-commercial users, you've got businesses, you've got universities, consumers, etc. Next to it, the CCNSO I've already spoken about, and then we've got at large. And at large is a very special animal in that it really is there to bring forward the views of the internet users around the world. You go to the next slide, please. And since there are 2.4, I think now, every time I say the number, it increases. Since there are about 2.4 billion internet users around the world, it's a little bit difficult to effectively say, yes, we represent those people, because I'm not quite sure that those 2.4 billion know about at large, or are even interested in being represented. However, we do act in the best interest of the internet users. We do have members on all the different regions of the world. And the very reason why we are divided into 5 regions is that culturally, some regions, and I guess historically, some regions have been more vocal than others. Mainly Western Europe and Northern America, we're very vocal, we keep on talking, we don't know when to shut up, whilst in Asia, for example, people would be very careful before saying something, because there's a totally different element, a cultural element to it. In Latin America, it's a different thing as well. In Africa, the challenges which Africa have in front of them are a lot harder with regards to all the logistics, being able to access the network, being able to take part in conference calls when your local telecommunications are not very good. So the different regions basically are all called sort of headed by regional at-large organizations. For Africa, it's Afralo, and I think you've got all in your packs, you've got this information in Russian. I'm not quite sure how good the translation is, but you have all of that in your information packs. Africa is Afralo, Asia Pacific is AP Ralo, Europe is Euralo, etc., etc. Each one of these regions selects 2 people to go on the at-large advisory committee.